A very good morning, evening, afternoon to each one of you. Welcome back to your second masterclass for this one, Product Market Fit and Go-to-Market Strategy by Peter Ho. Peter Ho is our very close mentor and also a trainer. Hopefully, he will give you a little bit about himself after this. So again, welcome back, everyone. So we hope from this session, you'll be able to learn how to market fit your product and also to have market strategy about your product. So without further ado, I would like to pass the mic to our trainer, Mr. Peter Ho. So you may start your session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashraf, for doing that quick intro. Probably I'll say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because I think I saw the participant. You guys are ranging from Germany, Australia, USA, UK, and also China. I saw one of the participants. Not sure everybody is here. So let me do an introduction. Make it as interactive as possible. Stop me with a question, then I think the learning process will be much faster. And also you can take advantage of my experience in areas that you think is applicable. So I have with me 30 years of experience working in the corporate world, focusing on telco and fintech. If you are Malaysian, you're probably very familiar with the brands that I work with. I work with Maxis, MNC, Motorola, Celcom, and currently I'm actually with Unify until end of the month. So it has been a journey that I have gone through in the telco phase, and for the last couple of years has been in the fintech on with people like Axiata and so on. So we do lending, B2B lending type of fintechs in the area. I'm also a certified trainer in the HRD Corp, so I do corporate trainings and some of the corporate I will work with a couple of companies at this moment. So coaching for corporates, usually I do a 3 to 6 months program with them, looking into transformation and stuff like that. I was roped in last couple of years to do mentoring as well, okay, which is some of the work that I've done with Beyond 4, Cradle, and also MDEC. So I focus on the corporate training. I focus on 3 key areas. One is people transformation or people leadership. Second one is new business model innovation. So new business model innovation focus a lot on how do you charge your customer, because at the end of the day, the thing is you need to know how to charge and collect payment. And the last and not least, which is the GTM and GTD, which is in line in the topic today. This is go to market. I add on GTD. If you have not heard of GTD, GTD means go to distribution. 2 major distinctive things between these two. Okay, so I specialize in that. Okay, so that's a quick introduction. You also have a QR code there if you need to communicate with me, email and probably WhatsApp. If you do a scan, I'll leave it at the back of the slide as well later, so you can do a scan. Any question before I go to the next page? Continue from here. Assume no. Okay. So Ashraf, can you help me to go to the next page? So maybe a quick introduction from you guys, so at least I know what you guys are thinking or doing. Maybe a quick 3-minute intro from you guys. Switch on your camera while I speak. Give us your name, company, solution. And I think the last thing that I really wanted to know is the purpose of running a business. Why do you want to come into this program and want to run the business? If anybody can start first. I think you're muted. I see someone speaking there.
Amrita, you are muted.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. So I was saying, since I got the camera on, I might go first if that's all right. Yeah, my name is Amrinder Singh, originally from KL, Malaysia. I've been in Australia for quite a few years now. In terms of company, I have a locally registered company called AKSJ Parwar, but I'm working with a number of different companies here, including my own out of Australia as well. The solution actually is very much telco specific, Peter, to be honest.
My area, my
Your area, exactly. We have, I guess, we've developed a number of different monitoring devices, if you want, and these monitoring devices work across, three main areas. The main one being telco towers, the second one being roads, and the third one being bridges, if you want. Roads meaning not just roads, but the road barriers. I'll keep it short and simple. We can always talk a little bit more separately if there's a need, I suppose. And what this monitoring device does is it's a hardware, software, SaaS-based offering. What it can do, since you're from the telco space, I'll focus on telco. It can monitor the integrity, structural integrity of telco towers in terms of the load and whatnot. I won't go into too much detail, but give everyone a fair share of time to talk about their own businesses as well. So that's the solution in a nutshell. The purpose of running a business, I've been away for many years. I think it's time to explore the Malaysian market. I've worked for many years with the Big Four, like the Deloittes and the KPMGs and the rest of them. And I'm very much well and truly ready to do something on my own now. So that's me in a nutshell.
fantastic. Thank you for that. So to answer a bit of the telcos you were saying, there are two big tower guys here that probably trying to consolidate the market. Here is E.co, not sure you know them, and then the other one's called H-Point, I think, to be exact. We got people working in there that we know and ex-colleagues and also and things like that. So if it's something that you're looking at, let me know so can connect you guys to look at some of these things. And
sure.
I think they manages not only Malaysia, they manages around the region, 6 to 7 countries at least that they're looking at. These guys are doing Malaysian are doing regional nowadays. So Malaysia alone cannot survive. You won't be able to survive.
True. Sorry, I missed the second one. I know E.co reasonably. I don't know them well. I've heard of E.co. What was the second one again, Peter? If you don't mind repeating.
H-Point. EDGE point POINT. I think they're from the US. The local guys are the group CEO is Suresh. I know him as well. We're ex-colleagues. He opened up this office here a couple of years back.
Marvelous. I'll touch base with you separately to be fair to others.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Next, anybody?
Maybe we can go with Brendan Chan, if you are okay.
Can you guys see me?
Not yet. Yeah, now can.
Okay. All right. Hi. My name is Brendan Chan. I'm from Rainforest Innovations. Our solution is basically working on an IoT solution, using data analytics and artificial intelligence to try to improve the yield for palm oil plantations. So, so using that to try to see what we can do to help out, and then purpose of running a business. So I've been working now in corporate jobs for the last 15 years. So just thinking maybe it's time just for me to start something on my own. So yeah, happy to learn more.
Great. There's an IoT Association of Malaysia. Personally, I know the president. His name is James Lai. Google them up. IoT Malaysia Association, I think. So James Lai has about 100 over members in the group. So we met up. We met up recently in whoever in the call, you guys on IoT. IoT Association of Malaysia has 100 over members. We had a meeting together with them in the, not sure you guys know who is DNB, Digital National Berhad, the one who runs the 5G network in Malaysia. So there is a couple of engagement there as well. There is a huge showcase or a experience center in DNB. So these guys know them. If you need connection, please let me know. I'll connect you guys up.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Right. I think next we can go with Matthew.
I think I disconnected for a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now can.
Also, nice to meet you. So my name is Matthew. So I'm the founder and CEO of Feel Easy. Our company primarily focuses in help companies identify the customers online for the KYC purposes or onboarding. Our key difference is basically our access to various government databases. So currently, we're based in Hong Kong, as mentioned, the China-based company, and currently you have access to various Chinese government databases, Hong Kong government databases, Singapore. The reason for joining this program and coming to Malaysia is mainly to talking to My Digital ID and MIOS to get access to the Malaysian Digital ID and hopefully bring Malaysians different companies to Malaysian companies to basically customers online for users. And for the purpose of a company, for recently as I graduated as well, I feel like it's a lot of Malaysia, a lot of room for optimization, and we do believe there's an opportunity right now to basically provide the infrastructure for online verification. Hopefully, not only can we obviously money, but also help out different people to access financial services online in a more inclusive manner.
Matthew, thank you. Just trying to understand from you. I heard two things, EKYC and also some financial stuff. Don't quite get that. Maybe you can just explain again the EKYC part, the financial.
Mainly for EKYC, it's basically for financial institutions we serve. As a mandatory requirement that they have to verify the customer online and verify the ID. Currently, we basically help these to verify identity online, fill the regulatory requirements.
So you have an engine that does the EKYC and then connect to a database platform that allows you to do that EKYC and verify that person, I presume. Is that correct?
Yep, exactly correct. So currently, we work with a few insurance and banks in Hong Kong to perform the service.
Okay. EKYC is very crucial in digital technology. A lot of telcos are, of course, EKYC centric. But I mean, there's a cost to it on EKYC, whoever you connect to it and things like that. So there's a concern there on EKYC cost. From the telco, I know it cost me millions of dollars each year to just do this.
Definitely. So hopefully, maybe I can with you after this session and maybe share a bit more about solution and how we help different companies in Hong Kong and overseas.
Yeah, Malaysia has about awarded about less than 24 months ago 5 digital bank licenses. 3 already launched. 2 is we're still waiting for the guys to launch. The EKYC become very crucial when you do online banking.
Then hopefully we come back. I come back to Malaysia at the right time, basically.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone want to go next? Maybe Afrin Aiman? If you can.
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. Yeah. My name is Afrin, and in this call also I'll be Asim is also in the same team as me. So the company is called Mara Creative. So it's a merge between the word Mara in Malay, which means to move forward, and creative being creative. And the solution that we're trying to solve is actually to provide accessible prototyping facilities for the masses, mostly, by providing facilities such as 3D printers, laser cutters, and stuff, using a subscription model. So the purpose of running the business is that I saw an opportunity and studied here in the UK. I'm UK based right now, but we will be moving back in Malaysia. Some of the team is still in the UK. Purpose is found an opportunity where you can help people. People can make use of something like this, and wanted to bring it back to Malaysia, and that's it. Yeah.
Can I just hear the solution again? What does the solution do?
It's providing accessible prototyping facilities. So
Okay.
yeah. You want me to explain on that a bit, or is that
Yes, you can. Give me an example in the real
okay?
life. What can I use it for?
So I study engineering, study chemical engineering. A space that they provide over here at least is that there's a space for you to just explore stuff, explore using 3D printers, explore using laser cutters. They put it in one space where you have almost accessible tools at your fingertips.
The tools.
But
The
the
it's the
tools that
tools. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And because of that, for me personally, and also the people that use the place, and also my friends, those were I spent a lot of time there just because I had them in front of me, right? They were accessible and in front of me, and I could use them to explore. And also, for example, me personally, I started to learn how to do computer-aided software using CAD software to actually learn 3D rendering. And then you could also, from that, generate, if you printed something, you could actually sell the stuff to people one time, or your prototypes, or even just a finished product where you could do inside the place. So I saw this as an opportunity for you to, okay, maybe a lot of people can benefit from this if you just make it into a system where, okay, they put some money in, they have accessible, they have access to these facilities, and they could just explore their creativity, especially those in more rural regions or more slightly lower parts of the world where they don't really have that much access to money to actually do prototyping and even explore their creativity because they're trying to struggle. They're trying to reach
Yeah.
some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that.
And it's very expensive to do that, to build a center.
Yeah.
So people who wants to startup like yourself, then it's easier for you to go to a center, pay a bit of money or even free sometimes, and you can use that facility to test your product to whatever you want to do with the product. So in the business sense, the business world will always use two words. I can help you, and in the future when you pitch, then it's easier for you. You can use words like experience center or demo center. So it's very fast for the business people to catch up to understand what you're trying to say. The tools that you use, the experience center and the tools that you use will help the guys to come and test or and so on and so forth, because the tool sometimes is very, very expensive. Especially, I know the telco side of the business, the equipments are by the million, so nobody will buy $1 million equipment to just test an RF for a phone or device or whatever. So they go to a center and use those demo centers and things like that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe next we can go Xiu Yan. I think it's in there, right?
Hi, can you see me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Xiu Yan, Go
Xiu
Xiu
Yan.
Yan. So basically I'm from the company called Project Galera. So we're trying to develop a solution for especially to targeting to the remote area. So where we try to solve the energy supply problems to them. So our company is going to make we are mainly is product based, not service based business. So we try to develop new products and then make it easier for them to and have more access to the energy supplies to for uh, for home and for school as well. So our target I mean, like target customer mainly will be the NGO. Uh, our customer mainly will be the NGO. So yeah. So the purpose of running a business, I think it's just that we trying to one thing is like I myself I actually is a lecturer in the university, so we more emphasizing like to transferring knowledge as well, and also I think it's a good timing as well for me to explore a bit like uh, in the business side of it. So that's why we're trying to work on something that maybe will be something to start with. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of universities in Malaysia are the R&D centers and things like that. Spoken to us and myself and the team a bit on monetizing. So they got a lot of R&D stuff in there. They're trying to monetize as well. So I think the solution that you're looking at is pretty suitable for Malaysia because you know how the geographical is, especially East Malaysia, with huge developments happening in Sabah and Sarawak at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff that they're trying out. Sarawak actually is testing quite a bit of things around the hydrogen. So they even have a hydrogen station at this moment. So you can imagine that new things, new toys, new ideas, they are very into it at this moment. So it's a good time to look at all these things.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Thank you.
you would suggest that both will be like mainly target on Sabah, Sarawak. They will be the area.
I am not sure about your solution, but hearing from you, if it's a remote type of solution that you're looking at, I think Peninsula has an opportunity as well. I work with one of the corporate companies. I'm a coach to them as well. They actually target remote areas. It's a satellite-based service that they have about 4,000 to 5,000 base point now in whole of Malaysia, Peninsula and East Malaysia. I'm not sure your solution will be suitable for those. So potentially it is there.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Those areas we're talking about doesn't have basic internet access. That's why they are there.
Oh,
That's
we
why
are
they
not
use satellite.
yeah, but we are not we are mainly generator energy. So
Yeah, I know,
using
but
yeah,
I know
using
that you're a
using
generator. The thing that
yeah.
why I'm saying I'm equating you to them is you can imagine that Malaysia doesn't have internet access means they got probably not very good in access for other stuff as well.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
There's a potential.
Thank you.
Matthew?
Hi, so my name is Matthew. I'm from Carbon GPT. So our solution is to provide sustainability compliances reporting through AI solution. So our target market is currently with the public listed companies because they have compulsory and mandatory regulations to submit their sustainability reporting with Bursa Malaysia. So we work closely with corporates that have requirements like that to help them meet their compliance. So I'll consider that at the beginning, it was more of a sustainability tech, but now it's more of regulation tech. Yeah. So that is the kind of like the purpose of the
Your solution, Matthew, your solution is a software based or is it the monitoring? What that solution do?
So it's a software as a service. Our software basically allows them to key in their business activity, which will be translated and calculated into carbon footprint, which fits into ESG metrics. So on all these metrics aligns with what Bursa's requirements is, and they just have to click. It's just one click for them to generate the report for them to meet compliance and audit.
Okay. Group of friends or used to be business partner, now friends after a long while. They're running the ESG Association of Malaysia from the president, deputy president, and all the guys. I can connect you to them if you are not connected already. Could join that ESG agenda in Malaysia. So you can check out them in Facebook. I think they're in Facebook. So ESG has an active member association. Some of these members are currently one of the VP is the SME Association of Malaysia president himself. We also got the ex-PCOM president in the ESG Association of Malaysia at this moment. We're talking about top-notch people in the industry that join the ESG association currently.
No, thank you for that recommendation and referral, Peter. Appreciate it.
They are there. These guys.
Do you have any questions regarding to my business that you need me to clarify? Happy to
I think not at the moment. Okay, we can take it later on. Yeah. I just want a quick intro only from the guys. At least I know what you guys are doing. Do you have anybody?
Right.
Not then we can continue.
Anyone I missing?
Hello.
Oh yeah,
Hi.
Jason. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. Hi, my name is Jason. I'm from Job Steps, and our solution actually is digital forms for manual work. Yeah, so anybody who's doing manual work and recording it on a pen and using pen and paper is
And Excel.
welcome to or Excel, yeah. But this is more for mobile device, so on the go. Our digital forms actually can do auto calculations and have mistake-proof attributes, and it's programmable and customizable. So especially in the areas of audits where you have certain scoring, pass, fail, that kind of thing, it can be done automatically, and you can attach photos and videos all at once. So it's actually a tool to improve productivity and reduce admin time. Yeah. And why we're doing
Why
this?
did you go into business?
Sorry.
Why did you go into a business?
Sorry, I didn't catch you there.
Your purpose of running a business or purpose of running the business?
Okay, yeah, because I see that overseas actually digitalization is quite prevalent, but in Malaysia you still get a lot of people running around with a pen and paper to write down stuff, and they create WhatsApp groups, and they have these storage systems where they hire containers and store their files and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so there's, I think, a big missed opportunity there for Malaysia. When everything's recorded on paper, it doesn't get looked at again.
Adoption is surely is an issue in Southeast Asia. Cost factor is also another big one. That's the reason why members still using Excel. Let's say into all these things. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Nobody. Is that
Anybody else? I think we covered
okay?
Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can start officially.
Okay. Can you help me to the next slide? Okay, so I was asked to look at two things: product market fit, and also the other one is GTM, which is go to market. I added on something called GTD. Later on, we'll have a chat on that. Stop me a little more time. We can have a chat and continue to pick some of the examples as we go along. Okay, so product. I think I currently in the TM, I run 3 divisions. Product development or innovation. Second one is product management, and the third one, sales and distribution. So a team of close to about 180 people reports to me, and I run 3 of these aspects of these 3 areas. So we always look at the product is that, do we have the right product when we go to market? We will always want to look at when we develop a product, do we look at the correct market, and did we address the correct market? Okay. And I think one of the key things that we always look at is the problem statement. Okay. What is the problem that we want to address? So in your respective areas and things like that, you always need to identify the problem first, the problem statement that you're trying to solve. And in the telco space, we always look at internet access is the number one thing. And I think around the world, everywhere, internet access become the key crucial thing. So if you look at digitalization around the world, not only Malaysia, internet access become the most prevailing thing. And I think the second thing that we always talk at around the world, and people try to look at internet, they will always have this perception about looking or asking about the speed. To me, speed is not as a product. Hey, I don't look at the speed as the most important thing. I look at the availability. If you have the highest speed in the world, so what if you don't have it available at all times? So when you develop a product, what I'm saying is look at the perspective of it from multi-angle, not just one angle. And I think the easiest way is for someone to compare is always speed. My speed is faster than yours, or your speed is faster than mine on the internet. But in other space, there will be other areas that you can look at. So then if we look at the product, and I also always look at the product roadmap. So when you build a product, we will need to look at a product roadmap, whether it's from a short-term period or a long-term period. Now, each of these have its own life cycle, which links back to the last one, which is what is the product life cycle at each phase of the product. And when we look at the customer phase, is when you launch a product, we will always look at from a speed perspective, a pricing perspective, and also addressable market perspective. So when we look at the tree, we will come to an area where it could be a product or multiple products that you launch in a different location with a different product fit. So we have done many times in the marketplace where we have an internet access product, whether it's voice or non-voice product, and we have something we built for the Klang Valley, and something that we built for the East Coast, and something that we built for the East Malaysia. Again, when we build at the product level, we also look at language barrier as well. So language also become a product. Whether the product fit into the marketplace. Example, in East Coast, we will never use English language when we market a product. In East Malaysia, we'll probably market it slightly differently as well on their languages and so on and so forth. So from a product fit perspective and from a roadmap, we will also look at, again, as I say, the basic product as your base product, which is, example, in the telco space is the internet. We will also build based on the type of languages that we go to market with our product. So in that sense, we always build to what the market need and the market requirement. That will also address the question on what are the problem statements that we are addressing. Okay. And also at the level of the life cycle, we also look at the different type of customer versus the different type of sophistication of a product that we launch. So you see, in any space that we launch, the customer could be a domestic customer. It could be also a traveler. So in a product that we built in the life cycle, not necessarily from day one, you will build the most sophisticated product and have the most features rich product in the marketplace. And when we start to deal with that, we look at particularly the people in Klang Valley. If we were to build a product, the life cycle is we probably have more features. Whereas in certain area, as I mentioned earlier, like the satellite service that we provided, that purely is just an internet service. So we also look at the product life cycle, as I say, and develop and also deliver the products. Okay, so that's how we look at a product versus the market fit on how we produce products into the marketplace. Anybody got any question before I move to the next one? No? Okay, Prof, can I move to the next page? So importance of the product market fit. There are three areas that we can look at. Okay, it's about sustainable growth. So in many cases that we have is we look at a base and the what I call TAM, TAM. Not sure you heard of TAM. What is TAM? TAM is total addressable market. So in the space of any product that you launch or you look at or in the marketplace, is that what is your total addressable market? Now that will lead into your next midterm to long term, your sustainability of your growth. Now, there are ways of things that an organization look at how you want to grow your customer base. So certain organization, when they start building a product, they only look at specific areas like, example, Peninsular Malaysia only. Okay. In many cases, why a telco space, when they start to build that business, Peninsula or the central region of Malaysia become the key market. One of the key major reasons for it is because in the telco business, close to 40% of the business, or 40 to 50% of the business actually coming out from the central region of the country. In any particular country, you will have probably the concentration of the bigger markets. So in Peninsular Malaysia, the bigger market will be in, of course, central, southern region, and northern region. So in the telco business, when it started all the way, the telco always built within the Peninsula Malaysia because of the capital investment. Similarly, then it took them a while before they move into East Malaysia. Okay, and that will also allow them time to recruit from all the investment that they put in, and also then moving into the other market. Now, the readiness of the market as well to prepare themselves to get into those markets are also very important. So predicting and also continuing of the growth is very essential. So for a startup, and most of the startup that we speak to is sometimes Malaysia could be too small, and it will need to lead you into a space of, example, Southeast Asia. Now, looking at not only Malaysia, if you look at Southeast Asia, it's even more challenging. If you go into countries of, like, example, Thailand or even Indonesia, okay, the type of languages, the type of business partner that you work with, and so on. The next one is about customer retention. A lot of product or a lot of organization look at acquiring customer. And especially the smaller one, the SMEs, hardly look at customer retention. One of the big things about customer retention is the repeat order or the continuation of revenue. So it is actually very important to build a product that you look at that there will be a repeat customer. The reason for that repeat customer is the sustainability of your revenue. So if you build a product and it doesn't have a continuation, then you will have a problem, because the revenue will rocket up very fast and very high, and you will have a problem in the 6 months or a year from there, and it starts to taper down. So then the question is, how do you retain your customer, or how do you make a repeat of those purchases? So the product development side of the thing is to look at how you can now build a product that can either have a repeat of order, or repeat of sales, or repeat of revenue from the customer, or which point of the product development you will look at the life cycle and introduce new feature. Now, one of the biggest thing is, if you see a lot of product and a lot of organization that they will build a base product. Example, you will have 2 or 3 key products, and what happened is in the month 6 or the month 12, you will start to introduce new feature. Now, one of the guys who are very, very good at this is, if you look at the iPhone. Every year, iPhone in the month of September, they will have a new iOS release. So what does the iOS release do is it will actually provide you multiple features. And because of the 12 months development, they try to pack quite a number of new features into the product itself. Now, that is how the customer retention become or kick in those areas. The next one is, if you have the sustainable growth in your area and you're able to demonstrate that, you have another customer retention, and you are able to demonstrate that, okay, it becomes a major investment appeal. I know you guys are trying to, that's the reason why I asked the question, what's your purpose of business and things like that. I hear a lot of you guys talking about the future business. You're talking about you have a career in your corporate world, now moving into the business. There's a business opportunity out there and so on. Now, end of the day, we also want to look at the investment. Now, investment means the people who probably you pitch to your investor, you're gonna pitch to your all these angel investor and stuff like that to buy up some of the share company or invest more money, or eventually even exit of the startup that you're doing. Now, sustainable growth and also customer event, very, very key in the area of investment appeal. Okay, that is for your future. Okay. Any question, guys?
Yeah, I actually have a question, Peter, if that's all right. I think one of the things that we are struggling with, I guess, is the investment appeal is an interesting subject, I guess, right? If I want to say, you mentioned E.co or EdgePoint to be interested in a project and invest money in the software and hardware that I'm proposing. Obviously, price point, as always, is one key thing if you want, right? Like, and the demographics is what I'm struggling with, right? In Australia, obviously, labor is expensive, so the maintenance of becomes a key, cheaper maintenance and reducing cost of maintenance. Asset life cycle is the other one, I suppose, and plus one or two other things. What would, I mean, you being from the telco industry, right? From, I guess, what advice do you have? What should we be thinking about, right? I know you don't fully, I mean, I haven't fully explained what the product and the software is, but generally speaking, so to speak.
When I hear you say invest, I assuming that you probably wants to pitch to EdgeCo or EdgePoint to say
Yeah.
buy my software, and
Correct.
the solution will give you X number of type of return that you're gonna get out of that, and the benefits that you're gonna get out of that. I assume that you're trying to say that, right?
Yeah, that, and then I guess that in turn, will lead to, I guess, the value proposition and leading to that customer retention and sustainable growth, etc. Because I've been away for many years, so I'm a little bit not sure, if you want to be frank.
I think around the world is the same. Business is business, whether you're in Malaysia. Maybe there's a slight cultural difference. Okay, I think everybody is aware. Even if you're in Malaysia, probably you speak a bit of English and Malay and Chinese. Maybe you're better off a relationship with the guy. But in other countries, you'll probably just use English language and things like that, or the local dialects and stuff like that. But business is still business. End of the day, you need to have that proposition correct. So they need to have the ROI. They need to, especially when you come to high-tech stuff, it's all about ROI. Okay. And what is the USP that you have outstanding? So example, you could ask yourself is you want EdgeCo to invest in you. Let's say it's $1 million ringgit. Okay. The question is that what is the USP that you have against your competitor? So when you build your product, it's superly important to look at your competitor. So against your competitor, will you have 2 or 3 ups, or whatever the USP that they don't have? Okay. Now, once you have those USP, it became very prevalent to the customer now. That this suddenly I've seen a new solution, and the solution is able to do X number of things that the other guy couldn't do. So I think from a product perspective, the USP and the problem statement that you're trying to address has to be very clear. So once you are clear on that, the client is clear on that, it's a very distinctive feature that you have, and it became very clear that they will be probably interested to speak to you. So once they start to speak to you and so on and so forth, yes, money is one investment. That's why I always look at from another new business model. Innovation. So example, could that pricing become different? Now, corporates are very worried when they go into something big, when they spend millions of dollars. I think you're aware that. And the cycle of closing a sale for that will take very long. So one of the way is, are you able to cut down the total investment? When I say cut down, can the product be sold as I'm not sure, 2 feature? If your full box of your product is 10 feature, can you sell them only 2 feature? To start off, example. Okay, I presume you can, especially software. I've done it before.
You could. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess, sorry, go ahead when you finish.
So I just wanted to finish off is, if you have 10 feature and you have 2 feature, you charge them the 2 feature fee. As you go along, the confidence level between the 2 organizations. Because remember, whenever you start with an organization, it's always, I call trading. Trading means someone buy, someone sell. You haven't reached to a relationship that you say something, you just say, okay, let's do it. You probably won't. you probably take a bit of time to build that relationship. Over the time, I've seen again and again in organization, it takes a bit of time to build that relationship, because you want to build a relationship from trading, buy and sell, to a full partnership.
Sure.
I've even seen where go beyond partnership, which is JV. That means they will put money and you will put money to build and start a company together.
Yeah. To further develop the product, maybe, if not a company together at least, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And sorry, I want to be fair to everybody. I'm hogging it a bit. Apologies for that, everyone. But so is typically, right, for hardware software buying / pre-implementation, or the BD / aspect of it, I guess like anywhere else, a proof of concept is the first thing they might want to do. And do typically organizations are willing to pay for the proof of concept, or they expect it for free? I guess that's the other thing. So being a startup, obviously you don't have the money to do all that double-edged sword kind of thing.
There's two versions of it. Some organizations willing, some organization is not willing. Okay, especially the bigger boys, and also the buyer. So the buyer, I call buyer in the commerce, not necessarily from the people from the procurement. The buyer sometimes is the power of negotiation. So when they know the power of negotiation, they will probably squeeze you a bit more and say, guys, give it for me for free for POC and things. I will give you one advice. Even the POC is free. Please always ask back for something.
The cost at least, right?
At least the cost, or if the project is big enough that you're willing to give away the cost, example, you're willing to give away the cost, at least get a testimonial or get as a customer reference.
Okay. The
customer reference, yes, customer reference is superbly important when you go to your next one.
Okay, cool.
Customer testimonial, superbly important, because he will work for you. That the POC worked. The POC was fantastic. Sorry, I don't have the money to buy for the time being, example.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least, even if you do it for free, you got a testimonial of a customer who was satisfied with the product.
Absolutely. At least you take something away.
Particularly a big guy. I'll never let go of a big guy. I'll do whatever I have done multiple times, is that I will never let go of a brand.
Yeah.
Because once I acquire the brand, it's with me.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's great advice and feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone got any question? If not, we'll continue. Okay. Next. Okay. So some of the key indicators. So we also need to have key indicator. The key indicator is for ourselves. Okay. And how some of these key indicators tell us how are we going. Sometimes is that I look at myself, is that I give myself a KPI. My KPI actually is my customer feedback. If my customer come to me and say it was a fantastic product, then I know the team or the group has done well. Or a customer say you could have done better in this way or that way, because the customer is actually the user. So it's superbly important on the customer feedback. The second one is revenue growth. I think every business person, why I asked earlier the question is that what's your purpose of running the business and things like that, and so on. Revenue growth is actually the result of that. So the result of all the hard work and all the work that you've done, the things that you put in, the revenue growth become important. And of course, revenue growth become more and more important as the pressure on your cost structure and your pressure on your profit. Okay, retention and engagement, and it is superbly important. As I say, can you retain the customer? Is your product or your business way of working together with them engagement, and it is engaging enough for the customer? And of course, last but not least is market demand. Your total addressable market, is it there? Who are you targeting? Are you targeting the right people and the right company and organization? And I always have this thought whenever I build product, or even I look at the overall scheme of things in the business, is If you continue to do the same old way or same old thing, will you have achieved new results? You probably won't. So you will need to really think about your customer, your revenue, your retention, and your engagement, and also the total marketplace. What's going to happen? Because the old way of doing things, okay, and if you don't change it, the result will be the similar. Of year in, year out. That's why organizations, you will see that year in, year out, or after a while, they become stagnant. Okay, we have one or two things to discuss later about those organizations. Okay, Ashraf, can we go to the next page?
One question here.
Yep.
So this is interesting, right? So when we look at how Malaysian companies are typically structured, especially the family-based businesses, right? They're okay with doing things the same way many years, right? Right, and then if nothing is broken, then don't fix it, right? So
even broken, they don't want to fix it.
Even broken, they don't fix it, right? Or they just put tape over it, or they use they tie some wire around it, right? Just kind of curious, like from your experience, like is there any way to kind of present the value, right, of doing something different?
It's very tough. Let me explain. It's a human character. Probably it's not about the business anymore. The human character, if does not require you to change, you're holding on to the belief, you're holding on to what you understand only, and not see what the world has changed to. That is very tough. How much time you spend? I think the question, if I could turn it around to ask, is how much time will you willing to spend with a client before you move on to the next one? It's easier to probably answer you in this way. So example, if I go to a client and I spend over a month, depending on the product life cycle, the selling process of that product and so on. So consumer product, more than 10 minutes, please move on to the next one. But if it's a telco type of service, maybe you need to spend 2 months or 3 months. It's because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's because you need to move to the next one. In business, is that your lost opportunity with the next client and the next one and the next one. In sales, it's just like your total addressable market. If your total addressable market is 32 million in Malaysia today, okay, how many people will buy? That probability needs to kick in. Once that probability kicks in, you need to identify your addressable market. Once you understand your addressable market, you will know, you will probably put in percentage of your hit rate. Okay, so hope that it answers a bit on that part. But your real question earlier was, if the guy, how to convince him? Actually, quite impossible. You probably better off to go and look at other people, because if the market is too small, example, if it's too small in Malaysia for you, maybe you should look at Indonesia. Maybe you should look at Thailand, because it's a much larger space of population. Then also, you will also call back to the fundamental of product market fit. Was the original product delivering what the problem statement was?
Okay, that's a good point. And then
there is no one answer, but there are multiple answers.
Okay, so you're saying every customer is different. The way to break into their operations model is also different, right? So
yeah,
that's a good point.
It depends. If you see an opportunity in a product that you're developing and you want to market it there, first of all, look at the total addressable market. Okay, is it big enough? If it's not big enough, you know that it's not big enough. In the telco space, it's very small. There's only a few players they can work with, and that's it. It's a do or die. Let's say there's only 5 players. You can't go to anybody else. That's it. But whereas if it's a consumer, you have a population to play with. Then you look at the total addressable market.
Okay. And then the other part about, just to follow through with Amrinder's question, right, on the POC, right? Getting the POC with your minimum viable product out there in the customer's hands. Like like yes, it's maybe hard sometimes to get the customer to pay, right? Would it be like unusual or out of practice in Malaysia to to do a POC and structure it such a way that when you hit certain milestones, maybe they pay you a little bit just to keep the lights on, that kind of stuff.
Yes. See, don't limit yourself to say this yes, there is no, and things like that. Sometimes that they are playing tricks with you. As I say, I used the word buyer earlier. You see, the buyer has a power at this moment. He knows that he has a power. He has what I call market access. You need their market access into their base.
Right.
Example, millions of customers. Look at the telco. Telco have millions of customers. You want to tap into the base. 20% of that base buys your product. We're talking about easily 1 million to 2 million users. And each of the product is 1 ringgit. It's already 20 million a month. Example. Okay. Now, they know that the power is with them. So structure it. I will always, you see, the first customer is not going to make your million, probably. The second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and the number 1,000 customer could be the one that's going to make your money, the big money. Okay. So not the first guy, but if the first guy, I will always go high, sell high. That means I will pick a brand, top brands. So when I pick a top brand, whatever it is, I must do that deal. Once I do that deal, he became my customer. When he became my customer, man, that is the credential that I go to market. This is my customer. Imagine with the credential to go to the smaller one, it's so much easier. Even the big boys plays with me. It's easier for you to tell that story. Your investment, your VC, and all that. There's a play. There's a play there.
Yeah, there's a credibility play, right? Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
I have took personally, I've took a PO of only 3,000 ringgit just because of a brand. I'm willing to do a 2 weeks loss-making project to just get a deal for 2 weeks of my team's investment of time to just get that badge. That is how important that badge was to me. So once I took that badge, can you imagine if it's a top tier, a top 100 company in Malaysia, I go to every other company, they will look at you differently.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll continue. So I think some of the questions are very relevant. Continue with those questions, guys. So I think to answer some of those things, there's two ways of looking at things. One is I have a theory. Whatever I'm showing you on the slide is theory, which I think it will work and so on. But the question is the one that's going to bring out the answers on the practicality of the market. Okay, that's how it should work. Okay, so identifying the problem always is the very crucial of your product. Sometimes it's actually not your product, as I say, it's the buyer. The buyer is the problem. Okay, understanding the market, developing your MVP. Okay, so earlier I think you mentioned about the MVP. Yes, making sure the MVP is something that the market wants. I've seen and mentor quite a few startups for the last few years. The thing is, when the market feedback to you, please take it seriously, because the market feedback is what the customer feel about your product. Okay, and sometimes if you still don't understand, go deeper. Sit down with them and understand why the MVP didn't work. Okay, so because that is the key thing to identify the problem. Okay, and understanding the market. And of course, always hear them out, listen to their feedback. Okay, because with all these 4 steps that you do, it will bring a big improvement. Someone just switch on back your camera. Yes, what's the question?
Yeah, yes. One question here. So now when we actually try to do that search for product market fit, right, would it be a good idea to create objective and key results that we're tracking, basically just with the customer, right? So that basically there's a good understanding of what you're giving and what they're receiving. and then basically the value is being created. That's how, and so that you can iterate on the feedback, right? Do that whole step 4 side of stuff.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you remember just now when I said that I had a project that cost the customer only 3,000 ringgit for a PO, and I got their badge for it and things like that. We sat down, we set up very strict rules that I am is that I'm only giving you 14 days of work that we are committed for the 3,000 ringgit. We will deliver X, Y, Z, and so on and so forth. Actually, the project went way well over a month. Okay, which me and my team was okay because we were betting on one thing. We were betting on the 14 days that we will complete the thing. Unfortunately, we can't because of the customer. Because the customer continue to put on some additional requirement as we go along. This is a software development. And what happened is, of course, we told end of the 30 days, we actually sat down with the customer again. We evaluated, we showed them the result, what we have done, how we have done. We demonstrated also the result that what we're supposed to develop. We've done it, and they're pretty satisfied with it. So, and then I also asked one more thing from them, which is their recommendation. Will you recommend us if a customer calls you up and say, check our background? So we did that. So the customer's willing to do it, vouch for us, and so on. So you're absolutely right. The results and the things that for KPI has to be set from day one. There's no miscommunication. There's no other things that they say you didn't resolve this problem for me and things like that. So we'll be very, very specific.
Okay, right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you go to the next page? I think I'm behind time. So some of the major mistakes, okay, is building without validation. So last week, someone just asked me this question. So how do we do market validation? Okay, so I say the simplest way, and if cost is an issue, that means you don't have the money to do it, and you want to do it looking at the public to see, to test your product. Is that something that's viable and so on? Do what I call a corridor test. So this group of startup, they actually are university students and so on. So I told them that it's easy. Just go out and to do a corridor test, pick about 50 people and do a test around it. Set up a set of questions. If you have a demo, please show the demo. Okay. And that validation will be able to tell you that at least from the public or from the market is that what is the validation of your product? Is your MVP good enough to go to market and so on? The next one is about premature scaling. You need to know when to scale. Actually, that's very, very important. And there are signals, there are signs to tell you that you are ready to scale to the next level. Depending on the type of scaling, there are scalings that from city to city, or you have to scale the product feature basic A to additional 2 or 3 new feature on your product. The other one, the common mistake that we always see is that ignoring the feedback. So there are a lot of times that the startup that we see that they don't spend enough time to understand or listen to the customer. Sometimes it's also the understanding of the customer. And understanding of the customer, there's one particular area which is very, very important, which is called the consumer behavior. Not sure if any one of you who have an experience to look at your consumer behavior. What is the consumer behavior pattern going to be in the future for a particular product and so on? So if is a behavior, especially in mobile app, okay, earlier someone says that they focus a lot on the mobile app, especially like things like eKYC. Actually, I personally hate eKYC. You know why? Half of the time that you try to do an eKYC, it fails. that is something very major. If you have something that it doesn't work, can you imagine will the customer continue with their journey? So don't make those kind of mistakes. And those mistakes are very costly, because once a customer in the mobile era, as you know, if they don't like the first 3 steps of what they're seeing or using, they'll probably just do what I usually do, delete the app within the next 5 minutes. So those are the very common mistakes around those things. Can you flip to the next one? Okay, so in the earlier, we also talked about a bit of survey and things like that, and your market validation. So surveys and interviews and stuff like that can be done after the launch as well, because before the launch and after the launch, it could be two behavior pattern, especially the one that about to start your MVP. Always encourage everybody to do a corridor test first. After testing, the full MVP goes out, and then in fact, in the future, if you have a version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5, a lot of people don't get it, is that they don't do surveys and interviews. Okay, we've seen multiple times that when you launch, and what happened is they revert back. I've seen organizations who revert back because it was so bad that it didn't work, or you start to have drop off users and they revert back. So sometimes it's also good to do some survey tests, and you also should be doing what I call test group. So you don't have to launch your version 2 or version 3 to everybody. Still can launch your version 2 or version 3 to selected customers only. Okay, then it will help you to even ship a better solution when you launch. NPS, not sure how many of you have heard of this word called NPS, Net Promoter Score. Anybody understand what is NPS?
No, I haven't heard of it, to be honest.
Okay. So NPS is more for consumer, okay, more for consumer, not B2B. Is that how a consumer views you? Have you gone to I'm sure in your countries, Australia and things like that, you would have walked into a store, and by the time you walked out, someone would have asked you, "Sir, can you help me to answer this survey question? Would you, rating from 0 to 10, what would you rate us? And how will you probably recommend this service to your friends and family?" You probably heard that.
Very common.
Yeah, very common. That's NPS, Net Promoter Score. So what Net Promoter Score does is it gives the organization an indication of your service level. So what it does is the service level will tell you and continue engaging with the customer. This NPS can come from multiple points. It can be offline and also can be online. So sometimes when you have a very pissed off customer on the offline business, he can see you a very bad score in your NPS. Vice versa. Okay. So NPS is just an indication of how you are performing against your customer service. Okay. So the next one is about cohort analysis and so on. So each of your product or the life cycle of the product, you should be doing a bit of analysis. So especially when you launch new features, and each of it, when you launch a new feature, did it work? Did it work well? Are we convinced that the new feature works? Did the new feature actually enhance the number of subscribers? Did the new feature actually brings more revenue? Is the new feature better than my competitor? So these are some of the tests that you can do, whether it's a B2B or B2C. Can you go to the next one? Okay, then the next thing is we talk a bit about market segmentation. So again, in market segmentation, in the telco space, we have different market segments. When I say segment, it could be the family plan, example, you can also have a student plan. So that is called market segment. In your product, think about it. In your product space, will it fit into different market segmentation? And will that product, with a bit of tweaking of a feature, it now suddenly create a new market segment for you? Okay, so each of the market segment will become an opportunity. The next one is about localization. As I said earlier, when we started, we talked about peninsula. You have a language, you have a cultural, you also have a income level difference between each one of these. So when you look at even any of your countries, I think you will have localization. It could be language, it could be income, it could be anything at the local at the localization of each of these region. Now, localization, look at it from a different perspective. Look at it from an opportunity. I always look at every single thing as an opportunity. Will that opportunity allow you to open up a new product, a new line, and so on? Customer-centric GTM strategy. Customer become the most powerful thing of what is today business is all about. Without the customer, you actually don't have a business. Because of the customer, you develop the product. Because of the customer, you actually gain more revenue. So always when you build that product, okay, always focus at the customer, not focus at the product. Lots of time I've seen presentations to corporates is that focus so much around the technicality of the product. If you are going into a presentation with a group of commercial people, so you should be focusing about customer, the customer's USP, unique selling point, the customer need, the problem statement. These are the ones. But if, of course, when you go into a technical discussion, then the technical team would have a very different engagement. Jeff, can you get to the next page? Okay, moving beyond scaling. When you scale, there is also implications of your product and operation. I have seen or worked with organizations when we start scaling, it means we sell more of the product and so on. One of the biggest problem that we had is in operation. And what is the problem? It's actually logistic. Coping up with suddenly a small volume, they can deliver the product easily throughout Malaysia. Okay. However, can you imagine suddenly the sales or the volume has become 5 times more? We have a problem of scaling. So when you scale from a product perspective and so on into the marketplace, always look at the operation. And that's very important area. On the market expansion is also another opportunity. But however, again, operations become a very big role into it. And of course, developing a good features around the product is very crucial as well. And that once you build that features around the product and it becomes so exponential, and sometimes you know that suddenly is that you will have a lot of operation difficulty. As I said earlier, logistics has become a nightmare. And any organization who builds something really have to look at the operation, support, and so on. Just can get next page.
Hi, Peter.
Okay.
Before we jump to the
Yes.
next, I just have a quick question. More about the corporate sales cycle. I think your experience here will be quite relevant. For us, we don't have a problem talking to clients or talking to customers or getting initial meetings. I think for us, the biggest challenge we face is how do we drive urgency and remove inertia internally. So especially as someone from a telco, I'm sure you understand there's a lot of internal processes to get alignment. So as someone, let's say, as you as an internal champion trying to push forward an initiative, how can us as a startup help you drive urgency within a large organization?
Among the among colleagues, among friends, we always talk about this because who doesn't want a quick sales? Who wants to spend months and years and so on and so forth into not getting a sales? I mean, that's difficult. And especially when you do a B2B and so on. One of the thing that out of the record, one of the thing that you can really do is how do you influence the regulator. By influencing the regulator as a big play, if you are able to influence the regulator and say eKYC is mandatory, example only, okay? Suddenly, all your customers will be calling you because they got no choice but maybe call the top 3 guys or 5 guys and so on and say, guys, I really need to launch this and I need to launch it in 60 days. Similarly to what happened to our country, the 5 digital bank license was given 12 months from the day that they've been appointed to launch. Can you imagine launching a digital bank? And if you have never had any experience or you don't have a partner in banking, would you have able to launch in 12 months? So regulator influence is one thing. Okay, one very possible. 2 is I can think of is fraudulent. Fraudulent is high because eKYC become a very prevailing thing. Okay, if an organization or entity that you know of that has very high fraud case and stuff like that, so eKYC I think suddenly become a very strong play in your space and so on. Apart from that, I don't think that as I say, the power is at the buyer, and eKYC is something that quite a number of organizations or companies can supply. The other thing that you can do is your uniqueness. What's the difference between yourself and all eKYC partner? I think one of those guys are like Zoho. No, not Zoho. Zolo. Zolo is one of your competitors, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly, yes. So the question is, what can you do Zolo can't do in eKYC or in the entire space? What can you do? None of the guy can do.
I can answer this right now, or should we take this offline?
Yeah. You can just answer for the rest.
Okay. So especially for our space, at least in a Hong Kong market, China markets, currently we're the only company with access to the government database, which Zolo and other companies can't do. For us, really in our space, especially we see the future trend of eKYC is really focusing around government digital identity. So solutions such as My Digital ID, SingPass in Singapore, or as well in Hong Kong. And we believe this will be the default method people will do KYC online, superseding the existing OCR and other solutions. And what it means for us, our key goal and our key edge is really first to market to have access to all these different government digital IDs. So for an enterprise client, they want one vendor to cover the entire APAC, and we hope to be that vendor who serves all their digital identity needs across the region.
You hit it on the right spot. If you have the government or those digital entities that can assist you to verify the eKYC, my question will be, I'll probably give you a bit of a challenging question. Maybe you can do it, maybe you can't do it. Is that can I not? I don't know. Maybe cut the steps on the eKYC by 30%, or from 5 steps cut it down to 2 steps. If you have already access into SingNet or whatever, or even my digital ID in Malaysia, will you be able to do better than your competitor? Because if you can connect to SingNet, so does the other competitor probably can, and so on. It couldn't be just only one party, right? So can you cut down? Can you build the feature where you're much better? 2 steps to a verification. Example.
So currently, on average, for the first few clients who are running POCs with us right now, on average, they note that 90% of the customers use our method versus OCR, and on average, it reduces the onboarding time by around 80%. So we have those metrics supporting our case, and for clients, they're also very happy, very satisfied, and especially in particular, compare our competitors, we offer an easier integration and more in-depth expertise regarding these systems because this is our core focus. So for Zulu and the other competitors for EKYC, their main focus right now is using OCR, and they haven't really caught up to this digital identity. And our hope being is that in this 1 to 3 year period where the market's still warming up, we're first to market there. We lock down the major accounts, meaning that once clients adopt us, they won't switch over to other competitors.
So I think you already got some USPs there. That's number one. Two, I think of a bit of what we're gonna go into the second half with GTD and GDM. So going directly to an entity or going indirectly to an entity.
Yeah.
You're probably going direct at this moment.
We're currently a mixture. So we initially at first we plans to have that. Currently, we're working a lot with distribution channels as well. So for a lot of the main contractors in the APAC in Hong Kong at least, we're working with them directly to selling our product through them, and they're referring us leads and splitting the revenue 50-50.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to do a small break just now, but looking at time, I think I shouldn't. The reason why I put this up on the next slide is to show everybody is something about our brain. You see, is if you can read this, I think this is how we should see things the other way around. We always look at things from one side, but suddenly, if you look at this slide here, how many of you can't read this? Anybody? I assume everybody can. So you can imagine is if you look at things from one perspective, this is the way of in business, you need to always look at the other side. That's the message. Because you as a seller, you will look at from your perspective, your product, why my product is good. But from a customer perspective, how do they look at you? Okay. Can you go to the next one? Okay, I'm gonna talk a bit about. I'm not gonna talk about product. I'm gonna talk about GTD and GTM. Can we go to the next slide? So I have two definitions here: go to market, go to distribution. Go to market is a strategy that outlines how a company brings a product or services to the market and generate customer. Then what is GTD? Go to distribution. The process of delivering a product to customer, encompassing of the channel and how you use your distribution and logistic behind it. Make sense? Anybody got any question at this page? I assume no. Anybody who have never heard of go to distribution? Go to market, I think everybody has heard this name. All the top guru of marketing will use this word, go to market. Have you guys heard of this go to distribution?
I think I've heard about the idea of it, but not the actual GTD word. But I think the idea is like thrown around, yeah.
I am trying to differentiate because it will get a bit confusing when you run a business. So GTM always is how you make your product, which every one of you have a product in your organization or your entity or a service, SaaS service, and you want to market it to the customer. On GTM, you focus a lot in the customer. GTD, which is the distribution part, focus a lot about efficiency and how to go to market. I give one very big example. Anybody knows Amway? I assume everybody knows Amway. Okay. How does Amway sell? Amway sell on MLM. So MLM process is actually a GTD, not a GTM. Is that how you bring the product, distribute it into the channel, into the customer, into their home. Which is someone will buy a product, go to your house and try to sell you that product or vitamin or whatever it is in Amway portfolio or catalog. And then they go to a logistic, they go to a DC, distribution center. At the distribution center, they will purchase it and they actually who brings it to your home is your friend brings it to your home. That is a go-to distribution model. So in our business, in my business particularly, I am looking at both. I need to create the product. I need to develop the product. I need to bring the product to the market. So channel distribution and logistics is my strength. So I look at a lot of online, offline, omni-channel, 360, and so on. Even MLM today to sell our product and services. Of course, I also look at B2B. Okay, can we go to the next? So what is I'll start off with GTM first. So GTM, as I say, customer, focus on your customer, market segmentation. Okay, we're going back to segmentation again. Look at the segmentation, how the segmentation of customers that you want, whether it is a family plan or is an individual plan or is a student market example. Now, the most interesting thing is the next is looking at the buyer persona, because looking at the buyer persona, you will start to understand a bit about the problem that they have and how do you sell that product or how do you develop that product. Next is the value proposition, which is superbly important, which is the benefit problem solving feature, which I hear many of you who have already got that. That's the reason why earlier I needed a quick introduction, because that quick introduction becomes your value proposition already of that product. Strategy, pricing, I think we spoke a bit. Some of you have an app, some of you have a B2B, some of you, and so on. The target market. Is it a subscription base? Earlier, there was a subscription base, I heard. Is it a tiering base? Is it a freemium? Okay. And in fact, there are also different type of modeling. See, on B2C, you can do a freemium subscription or even tiering. But on a corporate, sometimes it's totally different. Okay. It could be based on number of users into the system that you pay. Okay, and so on. That's for a B2B. Can we get to the next one? So on the process of understanding the customer needs, your competitor trends, these are the strategy again, okay, lining up for you before you create a product. And to ensuring your product solves a specific problem. Now the customer journey is an awareness, I call it. So customer journey, when I look at it from what I call omni-channel, okay, the omni-channel will allows you to look at a customer, the way that they engage with you. Earlier, we talked a bit about NPS. So the NPS of a customer, if you are an organization who have gone through digitization, you would have already gone into your offline and your online model. So once you have an offline and online model, it now looks at the customer journey. Now you could have a customer journey who walks into a store today, buy a product, but he actually return the product on your online, via your online. Okay, that journey has to map out at the GTM process is also very important. I give you one example of a GTM process where it totally went haywire on the customer journey. We had a product that we launched online and you can buy it online. And we launched a new feature. What happened was, once we launched that new feature, which is the eKYC, and what happened was we got a drop off of 80%. What does it tell you? The customer itself, when we went from the normal registration, okay, of submitting certain type of OCR to eKYC, the customer was not comfortable to do the eKYC because our competitor is not doing. We had a 80% drop off, and we decided at point of time, if we have an 80% drop off, we would go back to OCR. We did that. We actually did that. Okay, so mapping that is superbly important, especially and looking at the data of your customer. Okay, Then the GTM process also is when you are new and you are going to launch a product, okay, set timeline, KPI, launch phase, and so on. How do you phase up? What plans do you have to do? Each time I spend at least a month each time when we have a big launch, because you have to channel your channel readiness. For consumer market, the channel readiness, one of the most important things is that to get your GTM ready for the GTD is because if a consumer doesn't see your product into the marketplace, example, your leaflet, your bunting, your banner, okay, there's no marketing or there's no advertisement around that product. Okay, I'll stop for one moment if anybody got anything around GTM.
So I do actually, again, too many questions for me. So I guess, look, we have this product. It's selling somewhat here in the Australia, New Zealand market, right? We know our sector, i.e. telco, right? And I guess we have some case studies that we can put forward relative to where it's being used now, which is not a bad thing. I guess it's a good little start. I guess the market research, yes, we probably need to do some more. The product market fit, I think, is not too bad. The journey mapping, the awareness and decision making, that is something we really don't know anything about in the Malaysian market. And ultimately, of course, now this is being very ambitious. I know we want to launch beyond Malaysia, say into Indonesia, as you mentioned earlier, right? The markets are actually quite big in some of these other countries like Thailand and Indonesia as opposed to Malaysia. Yeah, you mentioned that you can help, for example, by making some connections. What else do we have to think about? I guess we're coming in fresh. It's not used in these markets at all. It's specific to Australia, New Zealand at the moment. Any pointers, tips, I suppose?
One of the it's actually in the GDD. One of the thing is when you go into an unknown or unsure market, it's best to use local partner because local partner become your guiding star because they know in and out who, what, how, and what around the business. I give you an example. So if you come into Malaysia, I've already given you two tips. One is Corp, which probably you know them, but you might not know them personally, but you need someone to probably help you to get you in there and so on. That's number one. Two, you can come in yourself, no doubt about it. The only thing is, do you spend enough time against your competitor when you're in Malaysia, Thailand, or Singapore, or even Indonesia, example? Okay. So one of the things is, how do you leverage on local partner? So that is the part of the distribution. On the distribution part, do you go yourself or you go with a partner in a foreign land? Because you don't have the time unless you build a local office here. You build a team. Okay. Yeah. Because your client will probably more comfortable to deal with you and use your service when you have an office here or someone here that he can talk to. Again, it's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
You like it or not? He needs to talk to someone.
Exactly. So I think the intent is to have a local office. In fact, I have a company already registered in Malaysia, right? But that means nothing, right? Without the infrastructure around it, right? And I guess the nature of a product also involves some level of support. And the two-step process behind that product, be it the hardware and software, is to then add value to that by bringing the engineering aspect into it in terms of if you want, once you get the results from an engineering perspective and you get a hypothesis on the outcome of that measuring, like you prove or disprove the hypothesis, and then maybe even make suggestions as to how one could, reduce the effects of that degradation if you want, right? And that really definitely will have to have a local infrastructure because I think otherwise we'll struggle, right? People are going to, I'm just thinking out loud and I'm just looking for some validation here. They're going to go, well, okay, I'll buy it, but how are you going to support it, right? Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, the other way is that, I mean, if your product is something that close to their heart and they're willing to buy, example, okay, let's say they are almost willing to buy and things like that, you have an option. Either you start an office yourself with a local guy that you need to interface.
Yeah.
Not necessarily has to be a very familiar technical guy, but you can fly in your expertise and so on. But you still need a guy who lies with them and things like that. Billing, invoicing. I mean, there's so many other things apart from just trying to sell. Then either you have your own people or you work through a partner.
Through a partner. Okay. Now that's definitely. Sorry to interrupt you. I guess that's something we really have to work out, because it's not just the selling bit, right? It's all the things around it, right? Which we have to work out. And we have some ideas and thoughts, which I'll probably bounce off you separately, being fair to the entire cohort. But thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Sure. Can you get to the next one? I will probably skim through this quickly. The next couple of slides, we are 1 hour 43 minutes already. So go to distribution strategy channel. Earlier, we were just talking, do you come into Malaysia yourself or you go direct or indirect distribution, online, retail, reseller, and so on. If you are in a B2B, get credible partner. Probably partner is already on ground, partner who are already doing some of these things. How do you partner them and so on? So that validation that you wanted was to which way to go, but there's no one single answer, but you can try both, whether it's direct or indirect. Logistic warehousing, especially when you deal with consumer products, okay, lead time and so on. Strategy, your sales strategy, using partner, reseller, build a strong B2B relationship and so on. Of course, last but not least, customer experience. Superbly important for sales. Okay, if the customer who has a problem, who do they call? They can't be calling Australia, who is 2 hours ahead, or US, which is probably 12, 13 hours behind, and things like that. So how are they going to get support? So on. Okay, and if it's a B2C, the ease of return, the ease of exchange. Actually, I forgot to put one very important that I've been speaking to several corporates, is that the ease of refund actually is not the ease of return and exchange. It's the ease of refund. I give you one very big example that I see. The property market. People love to buy a property and things that is going to shoot up and things like that. The thing is, the refund of that, making the customer rethink each time. If a property developer is able to say, if within 30 days you can't sign your SMP and you decided not to go ahead with the purchase, we'll refund in 24 hours. What would you think the hit rate gonna be for that month or for that developer? I had several discussions. I had several meet up with a couple of people in that industry. Everybody raised their hand and say, I think their sales will go up the roof and things like that. Rethink about some of these things. The ease of doing business with the customer. Can you go to the next page? So what about the strategy process of selecting, evaluating partners and so on? So it's something that earlier we spoke about. Going direct, indirect. Do you want to go yourself, go to a partner? Of course, you need to do a selection, looking at their criteria, looking at their experience, exposure. How close are they to the real customers that you have? Okay, that's very, very important. Cost management, balancing between cost efficiency, customer satisfaction. Of course, those are very important. As you scale, you probably want to give your customer a better experience. One example that we did many years ago was it's a phone replacement. So if you lost your phone, we'll replace the phone for you. We used to do 12 hours to 24 hours, but in Klang Valley, we bring the game to a different level. If you call us before 12 p.m., we guarantee you within 4 hours. We up the game, continue to up against the competitor. Developing a network, fast, reliable fulfillment, very crucial if you're doing B2C, okay? But again, for B2B, distribution network is also very, very important, especially replacement part of your machinery, equipment, and so on. okay? And how to expand distribution. Look at distribution on the GDD on a different level. Example, the highest level that you can look at was online and offline. But what about the multiple layers that you have into the distribution? Sure. Thank you. Next question. So again, what's the difference? Some of the focuses that I look at is GTM from GTD is like bringing the product to the market, creating the awareness, the marketing and the sales experience, customer acquisition, and so on. Some of the metrics on the GTM, on the GTD is delivering the product to the customer, ensuring the product availability. Product availability is very crucial for a brand. We have seen many times when there's a sale, okay, you have out of stock situation, okay? And if you are in a commodity product, your customer switching from one brand to the next brand is so easy. You will lose a customer. And usually when you lose a customer, they probably won't be coming back in the short term. On the GDD also, supply chain, logistic and fulfillment, and the efficiency and cost control is the key differentiator between the GTM and the GDD. Sure, you can get the next one. So some of the best practices both that we see is in GTM is test market before scaling, invest in strong digital presence in GTM, because the digital presence and so on will build the brand image. Okay, and GTD side is if you were to push a product into a marketplace for your customer, as I say, I think I've repeated this many times, which is the relationship with the distribution partner. Or if you sell directly, it's actually your relationship with the customer directly. And of course, for the customer, it's a satisfaction of offering fast, reliable. And the example I given just now in the property one was a refund. So if the refund was one of the best and things like that, I think the confidence level of a customer placing the money to buy a property, I think is very high. And as long as that happens, I think the chances of a customer getting a loan, not cancelling off that order and so on is really strong in those areas. Okay, thanks. So the conclusion is GTM is about creating a strategy to enter the market. GTT is to ensure your product is available and efficiently delivered to a customer. And both strategy needs to be aligned into the overall business. Okay, next. So I got 2 more slides, that's it. Before I go further, anybody, anything on GTM, GDD? No? Okay. So I leave some thoughts to you guys. I always ask myself, if the challenge that we face don't scare us, then it's probably not that important. It's something that always comes to my heart, is that if I were to start something new each time, okay? I give you one example of my personal experience. During the pandemic year 2020, I actually quit my corporate job. I left a corporate job in the midst of the pandemic. I went into something very unknown. I wanted to challenge myself to look at new things, new way of running business, because the corporate world has been very traditional and all the time. So I've came through, worked on quite a number of projects and so on. So each one of you, when you run your startup, always ask yourself, is it challenging? If it's not, and it's not scary at all, okay, I think it's not challenging enough. Something that went to my heart. And Ashraf, can you go to the next one? Not sure you all pick this up. Okay, a brand like Tupperware plans to file for bankruptcy. Can you imagine a brand like this with 300,000 independent salespeople? You know what does this mean? 300,000 people will be out of job. They actually don't have a job, but they'll be out of job. So any brand in the world, I always say, the corporate world, the corporate people, I always tell them, if you don't transform you'll be ended this way. And we have seen many of times of organizations who don't even bother, don't understand, and don't want to transform. This is what happened to them. Okay, by this, I'm leaving you guys to the last page. Sure, can you just go to the last one? Thank you. I welcome any question. For almost 2 hours.
Yep, I found that very useful. Thank you, Peter. It's very insightful. Appreciate it.
I say the slides are more theory, and your questions are more of the practical side. Definitely.
It's
Theory, a lot of people can do. Practical, not many people can do.
Matthew, I think you're on mute if you speak.
Oh no,
yeah,
I just wanted to. Sorry, go ahead.
Question, comments? Can I do better? What should I show you guys in the future?
Thank you
Amira,
very much
how are you,
for your
Amira?
time. Thank you very much for your time as well, Peter. It's very, very informative. Great to also hear some of your past experience selling, especially your own experience doing a startup. I feel it'll be very helpful for all of us who are a bit early in this journey as well.
I'm about to start a startup. Been invited to be a co-founder for something new.
I think Xiu Yan have questions.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the presentation. It's just I have a quick questions like because as I mentioned before that sorry, can you hear me? Okay, sorry. My question is that our main customer mainly will be the NGO. So what will be the what you will suggest, like if I want to understand our customer, where will be the good source that we can look at?
The good source is go to the NGO directly if you think the NGO is the correct one. Pick the NGO, work with them, to them, go down to the ground and understand their operation. Because by understanding the operation, you'll be able to develop a product that suits the environment. Now, not every environment could be similar, okay, wherever you are at this moment. So the environment here could be different. The environment here could be culturally different, whatever. Okay. Best, go down to the ground, meet the people, understand the operation. Understanding the operation is very, very key before you decide what to do next.
Okay. Okay.
Not sure it answers your question.
You did, because I'm it's just some things that I was just thinking like, because our customer is NGOs, it's quite difficult things to know like how to approach that compared with the other customer. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
When you say different approach, what do you mean by different approach? You because NGO to me,
yeah,
NGO is just a name. Yeah. And end of the day, it's still an entity that they will want to resolve certain problem. Yeah. So with that in mind, if you have a product that can serve that need, that problem, I think they'll probably listen. They're probably willing to sit down and listen and discuss with you.
What I meant is like, for example, if you have a product, we can do a online or offline survey or sort of thing to understand our customer. But in our case, I don't think we will be able to do that if with the NGO. So that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's also a relationship, if I can answer you that way.
Really? Okay. Okay, I got it.
Friends who you know them, you probably just send them a survey and then, hey guys, can you help me with this survey?
Okay.
I'm not sure it will work, but it's a try.
Some idea, at least, some ideas about it. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Adria, go on.
Hello, Peter. Thanks so much for the presentation. It's very helpful. Just a quick intro. So currently for what my team and I are working on, it's we're creating a kind of like education app, right? Similar to Duolingo, but for personal finance. So my question is more about the POC part that you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the presentation. So what would you suggest that, let's say, because currently what we're building is in a beta format, right? Like, so it's not out there yet, technically in the public, for public consumption, right? Only people who get the link to download, then they can test it out. So we are kind of like just, inviting potential customers that we think are the target group to kind of like download the app and give us feedback lah. Right? Do you think that at this stage, right, should we be focusing more on just like getting specific people to come and test out the app, or should we be while this is all happening, be trying to think about how to get bigger deals out of what we are building here? Because like right now, our thoughts is that if we could do a B2C where it's just literally that freemium or subscription model, right? Or we can even do a B2B where we partner with some organization to educate their employees or something, whatnot, right? So just wondering how to take this POC forward, or what we should be focusing on at this point lah. Given that there's a beta there, but not all the features are there yet, and we haven't launched it publicly yet. So yeah, hope that question is a bit broad, but yeah, just maybe a 2 cents on that.
I can answer in this way. You know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. So whatever you know and you try to do it, and you can test it because you are at that testing stage. So no harm to test with a group of people that you know. Go and test it with people that you don't know. Test it with partner. Test it with someone that you think that it can be a distributor, example, a distribution network for you. So don't limit yourself to only one try. Go and do multiple tries. I give you an example in the telco business. In the telco business, it's very mass market. We got 32 million people in the country, 34 million people. And you go look at the segmentation. Once you look at the segmentation, then I will put the strategy on the distribution. Each of the distribution, you cannot make the way that we do the distribution is so wide all the time. And we got people who just running around town to talk to different people. Now, you might have a resource issue. Then you could try only 2, not 3. Later on, once you're done with the 2, then you go to the third one.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised sometimes that certain distribution model works so fantastically well. You'll be surprised. If you don't try it, you will never know.
Okay.
That's my answer to you.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, it's like literally just keep trying lah. Just go out there and try all the different.
Because I can't give you a bit more accurate answer because I don't understand your product.
Okay.
If I understand a bit, maybe I can give some pointer. But at this moment is, if you are unsure, or okay, let me ask you, you have a competitor product, right?
There is no exactly the same product as what we are building, but there are people who are building it. Yeah.
80%. There's an 80% competitor. Sure, there's a 70 to 80% product competitor. With the 70%, what distribution model that you see works for them?
Right. I think a lot of our competitors are kind of like financial influencers. They're on like social media, so they are so okay.
You already got an answer, you see. So if I understand as a startup, you probably can't spend that kind of money. Could you be the influencer yourself? That's the question. Could you be the one who's marketing it? Remember, guys, you have a brand, you have a product, and you have you. Could you be the brand in front of the product? Think about it.
Okay.
You are the brand. I believe that all the time. You think the brand that I've carried over the 30 years, yes, that brand has an equity behind me. But today, because of my experience, because of my network, there is a net worth here of my brand, which I stand in front of a group of people when I speak and things like that. How many people will listen? How many people will figure that out? Hey, this is interesting. Maybe I can use it. Maybe I'll buy it. Why an influencer become an influencer is because someone believes that person somewhere, somehow. You could be the one.
Okay. Nice. Thanks for the 2 cents. Yep.
Amira, how are you? I just saw you.
Anyone have any last questions? I think if everything okay, then okay. All right. Thank you, Peter, for the session. Also, thank you everyone for attending the session.